There are no set patterns, there is no set model. You can have identical twins, both of whom have MS, who could have completely different symptoms. So what we did was we selected challenges that represented problems that are experienced by large numbers of people with MS, in the hope that we can help a big section of those who are affected by the condition. So what are these challenges? That wasn't the challenge that I was expecting. Paula is cold, permanently. Think Frosty the Snowman, but in the middle of the summer. Her feet are constantly cold, and this means that the rest of her body constantly feels cold too. She's tried everything from mountaineering socks to hot water bottles to electric blankets. Nothing has worked. This has affected the people she lives with and also had an effect on the way that she feels around other people. When they're sweltering in the heat, she's wrapped up in several layers in an overcoat. Now, 58% of people living with MS have difficulties with heat sensitivity. That might be to do with the cold, or it might be to do with the heat. I personally have real problems with temperature regulation. When everyone else is cold, I'm hot, and vice versa. Plus, I've also had what's known as Utov's phenomenon. This is where your MS symptoms worsen when the body heats up. So when I was first diagnosed, I actually completely lost the feeling down one side of my body. This numbness would get worse if I was in a hot shower or if I was exercising. It's a really tricky symptom to deal with. So if you can find a solution, it's likely to be welcomed with open arms by people with MS who have experienced it. MS isn't a walk in the park. Being able to walk is something that many of us take for granted until we're not able to. Giacomo's wife, Cillian, struggles with mobility, but they love to travel. She often needs to lean on things to help her balance, and she frequently needs to stop and rest. This has led to anxiety about being out and being in busy places, and it's also had an impact on where and when the two of them can go out together. Now, Cillian doesn't want MS to define her, and she feels that using a walking aid would shout to the world that she has MS. Around 70 to 80% of people living with MS experience walking difficulties at some point or another. Sometimes the psychological aspects of needing to accept help are just as important to people with MS as the physical needs to accept help. This is the unique part of this challenge. Now, I'm fully mobile. As you can see, I've been jumping up and down off the stage, but I've had to use a wheelchair in certain situations, or I've had to adjust or restrict my physical activities due to MS fatigue. So I know how hard it can be to get your head around the idea of needing help for something as fundamental as walking. Let's see if we can come up with a solution that is discreet, stylish, and can help Cillian and many others with MS to face the psychological challenges of needing a mobility aid. Let's talk about we. It's not something that many of us talk about, is it? Imagine that your life is being ruled by your need to go to the toilet. Imagine, right now, I suddenly need to go. What am I going to do? I'm in a room full of people. Where am I going to go? Do I leave? It's highly embarrassing. It's unpredictable and can result in anxiety. Imagine that you've had to take early retirement because you just can't control the situation. Imagine you're too worried to go out because you just don't know where the nearest toilet's going to be. That's Fernando's challenge. Design a solution that will give him his freedom back. Now, bladder dysfunction affects up to 80% of people living with MS, so that's a lot of people. I personally know people with MS who use catheters, incontinence pads, and other such items to deal with bladder problems. Having bladder issues can be exhausting, stigmatising, and can have a severe impact on social and work life. So let's see if we can change this. Let's see if we can make things easier for people like Fernando. So, there you have it. 3 challenges, the reason why you're all here this weekend. This is going to be your chance to make a difference. Imagine if you can look back on this weekend and you can say, this is where it all started. This is where you began to make a mark on the MS community in one of the most practical and positive ways possible. Imagine being able to give someone the freedom back to be able to live their life how they want to live it. That's what you're about to embark on today and through to tomorrow. So, on behalf of everyone involved with the World vs MS, I'd like to wish you all good luck, and I'm going to leave you with this. It's not about the ideas, it's all about making ideas happen. Thank you.